Intro. I first read the Bhagavad Gita in India in 1971. I was staying in an ashram in the foothills of the Himalayas. During this time, it was an revolution of my growth in my life. During November, I received knowledge. After that experience, my understanding of sacred books became, you can say, a lot easier to understand. Somehow, my experience was in sync with what they were talking about. Granted, I was at a kindergarten level. Still am today. You could meditate for 1 trillion years, and you will still be at a kindergarten level. This book contains a roadmap of how humanity can transform itself. We are going from darkness to light. Much of humanity doesn't see it that way. Many people just live their lives without ever asking the reason behind it all. These are chaotic times in this world. One, through practice, the essence of life lives in the center of the hurricane. It doesn't matter what religion you belong to. The essence is the same. One who learns moment by moment to be conscious and aware is the most precious being. We are all the same. There's a thread of love that ties us together. The Gita has inspired millions throughout the ages. Maybe in some way it might inspire you to look at a different way in your life. The greatest jewel lies inside of you, yet humanity at large is seeking to find the jewel externally. That is the essence of the book. You are the precious jewel you are looking for. This English version of the Bhagavad Gita was translated by Sanderson Beck. He did an incredible job transcribing this into English. I used Microsoft's Bing Chat AI to write a commentary for each chapter. To be honest, I was quite blown away by what it wrote. It did an incredible job of describing the essence of the Gita. I hope you enjoy this. AI can be used for the benefit of mankind or our downfall. Here's an incredible roadmap that one can take to understand how precious life is. The goal is to be conscious and aware in every moment. This is the essence of all religions, to bind and to have a union with that source that is keeping you alive in every moment. Intro. A few months ago, my wife Barbara said, "Let's watch this YouTube video called Seattle is Dying." This YouTube video has an incredible effect on me. I started thinking, this is not only Seattle's problems, but the entire West Coast problem. My daughter Aaliyah lives in a small town in southern Oregon. They also have the same homeless problem. Mind you, millions of dollars are being spent to try to solve this problem. I decided to start from Vancouver, Canada, and work my way down to Southern California. This problem exists all over. This problem exists in our entire country. I started to research to see what other countries are doing with this problem. I found out that the Scandinavian countries' mission for the last 10 years is to severely reduce homelessness in their countries. For example, Norway has reduced it by 60% in only 10 years. Norway makes it a provision in its constitution that having a place to live is a birthright. I work on many different fronts. In the past 10 years, I've always been interested in the happiness index for rating countries around the world. Each country is rated on the state of happiness of the citizens. I find it quite fascinating that the Scandinavian countries are the number one in the world. They take up the top 8 out of 10 spots. Israel and New Zealand are among them. The United States was 19th on the list. It seemed to me the higher a country is in the ratings, the more progressive the social programs are. The Scandinavian countries are extremely innovative when it comes to education, housing, and prison reform. How would you like to go to school and never get homework? Kids would love that. Many Scandinavian countries do this, and yet they are the most educated kids on the planet. In our society, we burn out kids, so that consequently, there is no joy in learning. Competition is the greatest force that they use. You are fighting against your fellow students to obtain success. The Scandinavian countries believe that cooperation with one another is the answer. Big difference. When it comes to prison reform, the United States prison system is built by for-profit corporations. The longer you're in, the more money they will make. They have no incentive to rehabilitate. Punishment is their means. The Scandinavian countries take another approach, and is not through punishment. It is teaching a man how to fish. It is teaching a man to learn the tools to succeed in society. They take a human approach. They take an approach of dignity. They believe if you treat someone with respect, they will treat you with respect. Inside our private systems in America, there is a war between the prisoners and the prison guards. Not only that, but prisoners fighting one another. In that kind of environment, no wonder when they get out, they return to prison. They don't have the skills to be good human beings in society. There's a saying that the more you paid attention to something, the more attention it pays to you. In the United States prison system, it is designed against you to heal oneself. I hope you enjoy this book and will ponder it over. There are many lessons for us to learn. Without kindness, you may have the greatest plan, but it will fail if it is done without kindness. Kindness is the foundation of life. If you want to see what a lack of kindness does in our society, take a look at the homeless epidemic in America today. We are the richest nation on earth, and yet 1 out of every 38 children is living in the streets. What does that say about our priorities? We spend about 60% of our budget on the defense industry. We seem to put more emphasis on war than in helping our fellow man. The United States has lost touch with its citizens. The Scandinavian countries still have their problems. They are striving to overcome them practically and consciously. In the United States, the top political officials pay only lip service to this. It seems to me they make laws that benefit the rich. The following YouTube video comes from the Peace Education Program, a worldwide program dedicated to bringing peace. This is a highly successful program in our prison systems around the world today. It is quite innovative and highly successful in the outcome. Many prison systems today are using this program to help solve their problems. Colombia for decades have had two rival gangs fighting. This has led to much bloodshed in the country. This program helps them to reconcile their differences and put their weapons down. Intro. Once upon a time, there was a land of dragons, the land of dragons. All story tales start with once upon a time. I started as once upon a time, yet I'm going to have to change what I said. In the world of dragons, there is no time and no space. This world has been existing for literally trillions of years, way before our universe has even been conceived. The world of dragons existed. Our universe is only about 15 billion years old, give or take. The dragon's world has been around for trillions and trillions of years. Our present day universe is only a blink of an eye in eternity. Many people say this is all fiction. This is all a figure of your imagination. This is coming from your subconscious mind. Did you know your subconscious mind runs the show in your life? 95% of your actions are dictated by your subconscious mind. It is literally running the show, and yet we think we are running the show. My brother and John were discussing the dragons. Even Carl Jung put his 2 cents in and said that the dragons are an archetype symbol for humanity. My twin brother John chipped in and said, dragons are the symbol of enlightenment. I like that. I'm going to steal that. Just think about this entire universe and the entire creation is going from darkness to light. Everything is changing and morphing. Civilizations come and go. They disappear like a thief into the night. The same challenges we have of going from darkness to light, the dragons had many moons ago. They went through their tumultuous times. They almost destroyed themselves. Just take a look at my book Dragon Tales and see the transformation of the dragons go from darkness to light. The Western dragons never changed and never matured, and therefore, in the end, they were shot down one by one by the dragon hunters. In the East, dragons is a precious symbol that can be seen throughout the Far East. Dragons represent hope for mankind. Can you imagine if you were created trillions of years ago and you practiced the art of meditation and self-reflection for trillions of years? What kind of wisdom do you think you would have? You would be humble because you know You can never rest on your laurels. One must be humble in the face of the vast universe. Many of the great masters were trained by dragons trillions of years ago. It's funny, you've been trained by a dragon for trillions of years, and yet you are born on planet Earth. It's almost like you have to start all over again in your learning process. I find them quite fascinating. The great masters learn how, when they go to sleep, to go into the world of the dragons and simply rejoice in the silence that is there. Modern day scientists would probably say this is the quantum field. In that field are perfect peace and perfect bliss. Each one of those great masters had vast problems to face during their day. Mankind really doesn't like someone to recommend to them how to improve their lives. The theme, "Don't tell me what to do," is prevalent. This is still true today. At times, you could use the state of the chaotic world to your advantage. I have been there, done that. When one sees that this world is chaotic, one looks for a way out of the situation. The Kabbalists say to have your feet on the ground and your head in heaven. This is what the dragons teach. It is the same thing trillions of years ago and today. Mind you, they didn't have the means to create things with their arms, but they still had the means to create anything with their minds. The mind is either your best friend or your worst enemy. Currently in this world, I would say it's our worst enemy. I look at the state of the affairs today, and it doesn't look good. Yet, I also see the other side of the coin. Millions of people are waking up from their slumber. These are exciting times. Even if you believe in dragons or not, that is not the point. The point is you are the piece of the puzzle. If you want this world to change for the better, you must become part of the solution. You're either the problem or the solution. You can't sit on the fence any longer. The world is going through difficult times. We must learn the principles of being in harmony with the earth and the universe. We must stop being consumers of this land and be protectors of this land. We are sawing off the branch we are sitting on. We are oblivious to the actions that we take daily. We are in the video game life, and yet we don't even know this game exists. The dragons and the great masters have been playing this game for trillions of years. You have been playing this game for trillions of years. The sad thing is, when you come down to earth, you forget all the knowledge and wisdom and play the silly game of life. One gets so involved in the video game of life that they forget the jewel exists inside of them. This game is quite easy to play if you know the rules and you practice them daily in your life. What an opportunity to connect to the source that is keeping you alive. Welcome to the world of dragons. You are blessed if you embark on this precious journey. Intro. I am in a state of awe. Signposts of God are all around us and in us. We are so busy texting on the freeway of life that we don't even see the signs that are everywhere. A while ago, my brother John sent me a link called The Christ Oil. I'm really interested in seeing all the various alchemy practices that exist around the world. This human body is so intricate, and yet the secrets are all around us. The secrets are in clear sight if you are open-minded. One of my major models is that you are your own chemistry set. Nothing can be further from the truth. Your life is created by the chemicals that only you produce. Nobody else produces these chemicals for you. Well, maybe when you take Western medicine, you take a drug that has side effects. Yet every single thought you have, a chemical gets released into your bloodstream. This has been documented by scientists in the last 20 years or so. I find it fascinating that we see less than 1% of the light spectrum, yet we think we are so advanced. Look at the world today, then you will see we are off balance. We need to recalibrate all the systems externally and internally. We are a ship without a rudder. Yet this human body contains the operating system, hardware, and software. They have been there all your life. The problem is we have never turned on the computer. We look for happiness externally, yet we look for trillions of years and we won't be able to find it. That is a fact. Western scientists has come so far in the last 20 years. They have mapped out the mind-body connection. So much incredible work is done in this field. This book will go through the systems that have been taught for thousands of years and the latest scientific research on this subject. I'm amused by the various different procedures producing sublime chemicals in the human body. It seems to me the entire universe exists inside of you. Nanak once said, everyone knows that the ocean contains drops of water, but only a wise man understands that a drop contains the entire ocean. Welcome to the mysteries of the universe that exist inside of you. Each one of the systems are so incredible and marvelous. Just think, the map of the universe exists inside of you. And what are you doing about it? Most of us are so locked into our day-to-day routines that we never stop for a moment. Only through entering silence can one understand what I'm talking about. This is not a theory. This is so much more. There is so much hope today. Dr. Joe Dispenza said it recently that only 10 years ago, most of his audience just wanted to have theories or philosophy. Today, the times have changed, and people want a direct experience to the quantum field. Scientists are blown away because they see the first-hand effects of the latest scientific equipment. What is occurring in this room? Millions or miracles are occurring. Yet, are they miracles? Scientists discover that so many unknown and unique chemicals gets released into the bloodstream and thereby cure illnesses that have troubled the individual for years. We are on a We are on a precipice that we understand the quantum field and our relation to it. In essence, we are all one. The goal of all the systems I have studied said the same thing. Mind you, they have a different process, yet the results are one and the same. We are all scientists and mystics. This is our true nature. The laboratory exists inside of you. You can morph and change if you like. The tools are out there today. Many of these tools in the past were forbidden for the common man to have. Times have changed. The world needs to unite. If we don't unite, then we will go down the rabbit hole that we are on. We all saw enough. We are sawing off the branch that we are sitting on. We have insurmountable problems in this world today. With any problem, there is a solution. You are a piece of the puzzle. You are needed to put your piece of the puzzle into the puzzle of life. The goal of any civilization is to go from darkness to light. When a civilization refuses to embrace the light over time, the civilization will simply disappear and never return again. War is obsolete. It always has been obsolete. The reason we go to war is because we don't know our true nature. We have not tamed the mind. The mind is the most difficult thing to conquer in the universe. We are at a kindergarten level when it comes to our state of mind. Mind you, a kindergartner is more innocent and pure than our state of mind. The days of bullying, mockery, fighting, and all sorts of chaotic behaviors is over. We can change for the better. As I said many times before, the chemistry set lies inside of you. Take a look at your actions. Take a look at your emotions. Take a look at your thoughts. By doing so, you will see practically the results in your day-to-day affairs with this world. Your emotional state and mental state determines the actions that you take in life. Just think, if you are unhappy and you think, if I become a billionaire, I will be happy. Yet, you may acquire $1 billion, but in your present state of unhappiness, you still will be unhappy with $1 billion. $1 billion brings another set of problems, more profound than you ever imagined. Happiness is a state of mind. If you think that happiness exists externally, then you will be unhappy the rest of your life. The wise man contemplates and ponders over the meaning of life. The ignorant man just goes on his merry way without ever questioning the meaning behind these words. I'm not sure why man is so lethargic in life. Shouldn't this be common sense? Man has been in strife for thousands of years, yet we keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. We are getting strangled by our technology. Our technology is supposed to make life easier. Instead, it makes life more complicated. For example, people are married to their phones. There used to be a fine line between your working life and personal life. This is no longer the case. Technology is placing us in a box where we are trapped in. I find it fascinating that the mass social media organizations realize that we are our own chemistry sets. Unfortunately, they hire the brightest minds today. Their goal is to make you addicted to their platform so they can make more money. They purposely cause you to be more addicted to their platform than a cocaine addict. I'm not kidding you when I say this. I have written a book called Pandora's Box, which explains this in more detail. The science of discovering your inner chemistry lies inside of you. Every single moment, you're either creating chemicals which are good for you or chemicals which will ultimately kill you. This human body can live much more longer than we think. At times, I think it is a miracle that we are still alive today. In the United States, we spend more money on health care than any country in the world. Each year, we have to spend billions more. Each year, the population is getting sicker and sicker. Almost everyone is pre-diabetic and not knowing it. A ticking time bomb exists inside of us. We have lost touch with nature and the universe. Many people would probably say, who cares? Well, the more a society is distant from nature and the universe, the more chaotic the society will be. Common sense is uncommon, and yet we think we have common sense. We are wearing blinders over our eyes. We think we can see clearly and properly. I don't want to be an alarmist, but the ship we are on has a hole in it. We need to fix it ASAP. You may laugh at this. Millions of people are waking up from their slumber. There is great hope. Ponder this over. Remember, you are a piece of the puzzle. Intro. I believe in Spinoza's God, who reveals himself in the lawful harmony of the world, not in a God who concerns himself with the fate and the doings of mankind. Albert Einstein. During the last couple of years, I've heard this quote from Albert Einstein numerous times. I never understood it because I never knew about the work of Spinoza. He was a 16th century philosopher whose theories are still alive today. During my research on this project, I found many great scientists who believed in this vision that Spinoza had. When Spinoza was alive, he took the world by storm with his great insight. Both Christians and Jews were angry. What he was saying? He didn't believe that God sat on a throne and ruled with an iron fist. His insight was similar to the Taoists. He believed the entire universe is conscious and aware. This was a radical idea for its time. The current situation the world is in is similar to a person sawing off the branch we are sitting on. We are divorced from nature. We are separate from nature. We live our lives consuming things so that we can all, hopefully, be happy in the end. Consequently, the world is in chaos. Spinoza believed that the universe is in harmony, yet man is not. When a man is not in harmony, chaos exists. Currently, we live our lives focused solely on me. We don't see the unity behind all things. We were never taught that in Sunday school. The great scientific minds of yesterday and today embrace the concept Spinoza's version of God. That should say something. Yet today, hardly anybody knows about this great man. I'm 70 years old, and yet only in the last 2 weeks have I found how incredible this man was. He was excommunication from his Jewish faith. He was considered a heresy. He had to move outside of the country. When he moved to another country, Christians tried to murder him because of what he was saying. Such was the conviction that he had. I have been blown away by the similarities between his thoughts and the thoughts stemming from the East. Most scientists don't believe in God the way most people do, yet they do embrace the thoughts that Spinoza had in the 16th century. Let's take a ride together and see how amazing the man was. This is quite the incredible journey. Intro. Temper. The definition of temper is the following. Noun. The tendency to become angry very quickly. She has a real temper. He has a really bad temper. I usually get my book titles from what I'm going to do when I'm sleeping. I got this title a few months ago. I remember a few years ago when President Trump was so angry that he threw his plate of food against the wall, and the plate shattered. I was quite blown away by this temper tantrum. This guy was the President of the United States, and he had no clue how to deal with his emotions. I remember when he taunted the leader of North Korea when he said, "My button is bigger than your button." I think what amazes me that in mainstream society today, this doesn't bother most people. We are so used to it. Day in and out, during the Trump presidency, he would top it off with something that was beyond topping off. Each day, he would better himself by performing acts that were immoral and unethical. I'm writing this book, hopefully, so you can take a look. We can take a look at our emotions and try to heal them. Nobody can change you except for you. I find it fascinating that we never learn this in our life. The world would be in a better place if we're all kind to each other. Unfortunately, the system that we have is not in harmony with nature and the universe. You may say, "So what? I don't care." Yet the world is drowning, almost literally. By the end of this century, most of the East Coast major cities will probably be underwater. We're already seeing the result of climate change all around the world. Yet we keep on texting on the freeway of life. We are born to be consumers. This is what we do. The American dream is to be a very successful consumer. That is the definition of attaining a good life. I have my mansion and my Porsche. I can travel anywhere around the world. Yet I'm still in the kindergartner state of mind when it comes to my emotions. It seems even billionaires will never get completely satisfied for what they have. It's always more, and more. In the next 2 years, we will probably have 2 trillionaires. I can guarantee you they will still not be satisfied with having all that wealth. $1 trillion equals spending $100,000 a year for 34 million years. We need a major overhaul of our systems. We need a recalibration of the body, mind, and soul. There is so much wisdom out there. Can you imagine how incredible it would be if the mass media at large started to talk how humanity can improve for the better? Instead of negative news 99% of the time, maybe we should have 99% positive news. That can help humanity to discover its true nature. Imagine if governments around the world united to talk about how humanity can discover its true nature. The world would change for the better. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Today, the United States spends more money on illness than any country in the world. You would think we would be in great health. The United States is one of the sickest countries in the world. The foods that we eat are literally killing us. Processed food companies are not interested in health. They are interested in you buying their goods. Common sense is uncommon. We are completely off the mark when it comes to harmony. No wonder the world is in such bad shape. We are like a ship without a rudder. Intro. I believe in the theory of the butterfly effect. Scientists believe that a single butterfly in China, if it flapped its wings at exactly a precise moment in time, could start a chain reaction that could result in a hurricane somewhere around the world. I have seen this recently in my own life. Events that took place over 50 years ago, I'm seeing the effects of the flapping of the butterfly years ago. This is another rabbit hole that I'm going down. A few months ago, my brother sent me a link called the Christ Drop. I was quite fascinated by this. I even wrote a book called The Land of Milk and Honey. This book was based upon research that I've done in the last 50 years or so on this subject. I saw a YouTube video from Santos who gave an incredible explanation of the Christ Drop. I soon started listening to his videos on YouTube. I saw and read about sine waves. I saw this incredible paper from Stephen Hawking who talked about sine waves. His theory was everything created as a sine wave. Everything in the universe gets created and ultimately gets destroyed. We will go into more detail in the next chapter. Even the universe itself is a sine wave. I was mesmerized by this. This led me down a rabbit hole where I'm writing this book. Santos had a video on sine waves, and in his talks he mentioned Swami Sri Yukteswar Guru. 50 years ago, I read the book The Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. I was fascinated by the book when it talked about the whole process of going from darkness to light. There are certain ages that the universe goes through, and much like the four seasons, Santo quoted much from the book The Holy Silence that Swami Sri Yukteswar wrote over 100 years ago. Let's go down this rabbit hole together. I know I'm going to have a blast. Let's explore sacred wisdom. It may even inspire you to learn more. Intro. Come with me on this journey. Let's explore the mysteries of going to sleep. We probably spend 1/3 of our lives sleeping. Most people think that sleeping is a drag. Why do I have to go to bed every night and sleep? Such is the thinking when we are texting on the freeway of life. We take the miraculous and make it absolutely mundane. Humanity spends billions of dollars a year on drugs to try to make them sleep at night. These drugs do nothing except compound the problem. We have no clue that our lifestyle will dictate the kind of sleep that we will have. It will dictate how healthy your mind and body will be. Do we live in a time where preventative medicine is at the bottom of the barrel of life? Society believes wholeheartedly that Western medicine is the answer to the world's problems. We believe a doctor will give us a drug and make us well without changing our lifestyle. Nobody wants to take responsibility. The United States is a sickness nation, not a wellness nation. This book will give you some great insights and hopefully practical tips you can use to make your sleep better. Hopefully, will also show you what a miracle this human body is. If you take care of it, it will take care of you. There's a huge battle going on inside of you. What we consider truth is fiction, and fiction is truth. We are so far out of balance with nature that we can't see the forest from the trees. We think we are so normal. Just take a look around and see the mess that we have created in this world. Hopefully, these books will help you in a little way to bring you in balance with your true nature. Intro. No man is an island. The world around me helped me to where I am today. All my teachers, family, and friends taught me about the web of life. We are all interconnected in ways we can't even imagine. This book will help detail the web of people who helped me on this journey. The definition of innovators is as follows. Innovator. Someone who introduces changes and new ideas. She has won a reputation as a leading innovator in the industry. He was an innovator. He wasn't afraid to try something new. Intro. My dear friend John Byer sent me this link to a YouTube video about the ant people. This is another incredible rabbit hole that I'm going down. Come with me on this journey. You may even learn something new and outside of your box. It may even be beyond your comfort zone. Intro. I've been pondering over the subject of conquering the Wild West for many years. The more I read about the subject, the more I see the total devastation that we have committed against indigenous people. In grade school, they made you feel it was like an exciting time in American history. We were expanding our territory. I remember reading about the final train tie, which led together the East Coast and the West Coast by rail. Yet lately, I've been reading from the indigenous people and their side of the story. Can you imagine living on your land for thousands of years? The indigenous people knew they were custodians of the land. They knew their survival was dependent upon being harmonious with the land and all the magnificent creatures that exist in it. Westerners might say they didn't have a technology-based society, yet their society was full of ancient wisdom. Just think, every square inch of land that was taken, the Indians never saw most of that land again. The Indians would only kill a buffalo to survive for the winter. Western men would kill buffaloes by the millions. I remember seeing a photo once in a magazine. It displayed a huge mountain of killed buffaloes. Two men with rifles had their rifles pointed out of the window toward the buffalo's corpses. This was a mere sport for them. It was a form of genocide for the indigenous people at that time. They knew that by killing all the buffalo, the indigenous people wouldn't survive. Almost every inch of land in America was taken from the indigenous people. Many have been forced off their lands and had to survive on some reservation. Many of them could no longer fish or hunt without a license. If you were found to break a law, your license would be taken away for life. This is a tale of the great tragedy that occurred and is still occurring today in America. I hope reading this book will be an avenue where people can discuss what occurred in the past and what we can do to make sure it doesn't happen in the future. For our world to survive, we need to change in so many different ways. We must stop being consumers of this life. We must learn how to be custodians. Mother Earth recently has been going through many dramatic changes. Hopefully, we can learn from the present and past mistakes. Many years ago, I heard in Colorado, a great teacher once said, "We are sawing off the branch that we are sitting on." That was said over 50 years ago, and yet it is still so true today. I pray that we can live once again in unity with nature and the universe. Quite frankly, most of the world's leaders haven't a clue as to what has to be done. In the United States, the political system is in total shambles. I don't need to get into that. Just turn on the TV. Time is ticking away. We must realize there's a thread of love tying us together. We think we are separate. We think that consumer goods will give us fulfillment and happiness in our life. We were taught this from quite a young age. True happiness does not exist outside of you. And unfortunately, we have been living that way for thousands of years. We are at a turning point. We must change our ways. If we don't, I can almost guarantee you in a couple hundred years, humans won't be on this planet. Talk to any climate scientist and he will tell you the same thing. Signposts are all around us. Humanity must make a crucial decision. We must change our ways. There's no point even debating it. Come join me on this adventure of life. You are a piece of the puzzle. Your piece of the puzzle is needed to solve the puzzle of life. Intro. I am a paradox. No, you're not one. Exactly. Paradox. 1. A seemingly absurd or self-contradictory statement or proposition that when investigated or explained may prove to be well-founded or true. In a paradox, he discovered that stepping back from his job has increased the rewards he gleans from it. Similar. Contradiction. Contradiction in terms. Self-contradiction. Inconsistency. Incongruity. Anomaly. Conflict. Absurdity. Oddity. Enigma. Puzzle. Mystery. Conundrum. Oxymoron. Antonymy. A statement or proposition that despite sound or apparently sounds, reasoning from acceptable premises leads to a conclusion that seems senseless, logically unacceptable, or self-contradictory. A potential serious conflict between quantum mechanics and the general theory of relativity known as the information paradox. A situation, person, or thing that combines contradictory features or quality. The mingling of deciduous trees with elements of desert flora forms a fascinating ecological paradox. Intro. A body hack is a usable technique that can make an improvement to improve a person's life, health, or mental state. These techniques are generally learned through real-life experience and not necessarily medically recognized. Body hacks may work for some people and not for others, and the only way to find out is to give them a try. For some unknown reason, my brother and I have been using body hacking in one way or another for most of our life. I don't know why. We both seem to think outside of society's boxes. Even when we were quite young, both of us knew that life was absolutely incredible. Yet, we saw the life that people lived was mundane. We knew there had to be a better way of living. Somehow, we knew that the answers existed inside of us. We knew we are all tied together through the thread of love. Most people back then, and even now, will fluff that off. They would say that is impossible. Talk to any quantum scientists, and they will all agree that there is a thread tying the entire universe together. When I first started surfing during the 60s, you were considered an outcast if you surfed. Today, it is part of society. Much has changed since back then. When I took up a yoga practice during my senior year of high school, that was considered a state of being a rebel. You were almost placed in the same category as a communist. Today, yoga is everywhere. It takes a couple of decades for something that is considered outside the box to be integrated into society at large. I'm going to try to share the hacks that I use daily in my life. They have been quite useful for me. Mind you, I'm not going to try to convince you. I'm not here to hype them either. The world has so many people trying to sell you something. I have nothing to sell. The wisdom exists inside of you. Imagine the greatest computer in the universe exists inside of you. The operating system, hardware, and software have been there since you were born. The trouble is, you have never turned on the computer. For most of our lives, we are texting on the freeway of life. Our focus solely is external. Originally, I was going to call this book Common Sense is Uncommon. Yet the more I thought about it, the word hack came to mind. As I said at the beginning of the intro, a hack is a useful technique that can improve a person's life, health, or mental state. These hacks were never taught to us in our schools. We will go over these hacks in detail. This book, literally, if you took the advice, could change your life forever. For one to change, knowledge must be understood by the body and mind to make proper actions occur. You must be willing to be strong to make proper decisions in your life. One must be trying to be more conscious of the affairs that we are all living day by day. Most of us live automatic lives. Over 95% of our actions are dictated by the subconscious mind. We only see 1% of the light spectrum. We must learn how to reprogram our subconscious. We need to rewire our brains. We need to learn how to create new neural networks that are beneficial for our lives. The world at large is chaotic because our biochemistry is chaotic. We think we are so smart. Look at this world today, and chaos is all around us. The world is a reflection of mental states. We need to recalibrate all the known systems that are out there, not only outside, but inside of us. The funny thing, we think that we don't need to change. I'm happy with the state I'm in. That is called apathy. Look, I don't want to judge you because you have free choice, but what I'm saying is the greatest car in the universe lies inside of you. The garage door is closed and cobwebs are all over the car. You have forgotten that this car is meant to be taken out daily for a spin. Meanwhile, the car just sits in the garage doing nothing but gathering dust. I hope you enjoy this book. It doesn't matter who you are. You are the universe, and you just don't know it. Signposts are all around you, yet we don't have the eyes to see. Intro. I believe in synchronicity. A few days ago, I had a dream where my next book was to be called Beyond the Beyond. I'm totally fascinated by the James Webb telescope. What they are discovering blows my mind. After I had my dream and got up, I received a text message from my dear friend Amar. Now Amar works for the same company that made the telescope. He gave me a link to one of the engineers who won a top prize in his field. This is one of the scientists he works with. Literally across the street from him is the site where the great telescope was built. Around 35 years ago, I went to the Monroe Institute for a week seminar. I remember watching a short movie that displayed the smallest to the largest and the largest back to the smallest. It really blew my mind. This book, hopefully, will help you discover the joy of learning about your true nature from the smallest to the largest, from the largest to the smallest. In my eyes, both the modern-day scientists and the ancient mystics are both talking about the same thing. In the 1970s, I read the book, The Tao of Physics. In this book, you couldn't tell the difference whether a scientist was talking about this or the ancient mystics. I find it extremely fascinating, both sides of the coin. we're talking about the same thing. Maybe, just maybe, this book will help you get outside of your box.
Intro. If you know me, you will know that I love to think outside of the box. I have been researching most of my life. It's not only intellectual knowledge, yet it's down-to-earth wisdom. You could call it the land of the mystic, feet on the ground and your head in heaven. Be practical and yet consciously live within the jewel that lies within. Call it whatever you want, but something is keeping you alive. The same power that is keeping you alive is keeping the universe alive. This is my first introduction to Tibetan formal training that I'm about ready to embark on. It's a 16-week course. Lama Glenn Mullen is presenting this course starting July 24. I'm looking forward to learning more about this ancient wisdom. Here's the beginning of this new journey. Maybe you might want to join in this adventure. Life will give you many signposts and synchronicities if you are open to them. I've been fortunate to be aware of this since childhood. When one is conscious of the inner doors, signposts and synchronicities are a part of your life. Remember, the more attention you pay to something, the more attention it pays to you. My girlfriend Anna and I were driving from Toronto to Vancouver, Canada. The year was 1974. We ran into Mahatma Rajeshwar and Bill Patterson along the way. They were going to do a TV interview and asked us if we wanted to come. We spent a few days there. Bill gave me a copy of a book about Milarepa. He was Tibet's greatest yogi. The Kagyu lineage still exists today. In fact, in Ashland, Oregon, there's a beautiful temple that comes from the Kagyu lineage. Bill unfortunately died about 10 years ago. He was well known for his kindness. I loved the book. I was extremely fascinated by his life. I love to meditate. It is a part of my life. I mean, an incredible part of my life. I had a knack for it. Fast forward about 48 years. I'm on Facebook and I see the interesting post, Tumo and 6 yoga trainings with Lama Glenn. I was quickly drawn to this. What a synchronicity. My mind went back to receiving this precious book on Milarepa many moons ago. Signposts are all around us. Buddha has been following me around for a long time. My parents had a Buddha statue, where as a kid I would get mesmerized by just staring at it. It took all my troubles and worries as a young child away. In my teens, I began a formal meditation practice, which I still do today. My practice is the foundation of my life. I once had a past life regression with my twin brother John. Mark Lornhurst and I were students of Buddha. I could see it in my mind's eye. Even today, I can close my eyes and visions will appear. Of course, I can't prove it, grin, yet the impressions are there. Milarepa is another guide. When I first read the book on Milarepa, it was also mesmerizing. I lived in Ashland, Oregon for some time, and it was a beautiful temple that comes from the Kagyu lineage. My wife and I went to the temple a few times. but never heard about how to study with them. Anyway, this is going to be an incredible journey. Both Buddha and Milarepa have been friends with me for such a long time. Once again, how can you explain that? Yet I most certainly know that we are never alone. This journey is both internal and external. What can I say? We are all blessed.
Intro. The evolution, revolution of love is a movement that seeks to bring awareness to humanity that the problems in the world today is not a political problem, not an economical problem, and not a military problem. The problem in the world today is a spiritual problem, and it can only be solved by spiritual means. I've been a software engineer since 1982. I've seen the evolution, revolution of changes in technology around the world. I was involved in developing many incredible software projects during my career. Today, the world is at a cusp where quantum computing is coming into being. This will revolutionize the world. There are many reasons why humanity is going through so much technological change than ever before in history. One reason is that technology is evolving alongside us. Humans can consciously improve and combine their creations over time, and in turn extend the boundaries of consciousness. It is through this process of recursive iteration that tools become technologies, and technologies a world-altering force. Another reason is that technological change affects and is affected by a society's cultural traditions. Binary computers use binary digits, bits, to represent data. Each bit can either be 0 or 1. Quantum computers use quantum bits, qubits, instead of bits. Qubits can be 0 or 1, but they can also be both at the same time. This is called superposition. Quantum computers can also use entanglement, which is a phenomena where two qubits become connected in such a way that the state of one qubit affects the state of the other qubit. Quantum computers are still in their early stages of development, but they have the potential to revolutionize computing. They can solve certain problems much faster than classical computers. For example, they can factor large numbers much faster than classical computers. This is important because many encryption algorithms rely on the fact that factoring large numbers is difficult for classical computers. This is just the stepping stone, that these are the current facts that have come out. Imagine in the next 50 years where we will be. The following comes from Michio Kaku's latest book, Quantum Supremacy. First, Google revealed that their Sycamore quantum computer would solve a mathematical problem in 200 seconds that would take 10,000 years on the world's fastest supercomputer. According to MIT's Technology Review, Google called this a major breakthrough. They likened it to the launch of Sputnik or the White brothers' first flight. It was the threshold of a new era of machines that would make today's mightiest computer looks like a abacus. Then the Quantum Innovation Institute of the Chinese Academy of Science went even further. They claim their quantum computer was 100 trillion times faster than an ordinary computer. Mankind is going through the revolution of going from darkness to light. Quantum computers help pave the way. Mind you, in my eyes, quantum computing is simply a stepping stone for man to discover his true nature. We have witnessed such tremendous changes in technologies in just under 50 years. Many people think that technology will solve any problem. Take a look at the world around you, and you will see that chaos is still alive and well on this planet. In the United States, political parties are in shambles. No one knows how to compromise and to talk to one another. It's a sad situation, and humanity is caught in the middle of it. When society and the world at large thinks that the external world can change without changing the inner world, we will always be lost. I have written about 80 books in the last 7 years. I've talked about many of the world's problems and the way out of them. Granted, there's simple solutions, but the world at large were to discover their true nature, the world would change in a blink of an eye. There is a web of love tying us all together. The mystics have known about the quantum field for thousands of years. Granted, they did not have the current scientific terminology to describe it. I remember once reading a book called The Tao of Physics in the 70s. In this book, you couldn't tell the difference between the modern-day scientists and what the mystics of old were saying. I find it so reassuring today that amidst the junk on the internet, there are millions of people talking about the same transformational process of going from darkness to light. I often say many times that the spiritual life is the most practical. Feet on the ground and head in heaven. What could be more practical than that? I would rather live in the center of the hurricane than the hurricane forces of the mind. Humanity is like leaves blowing in the wind. The wind blows us in one direction. Then we are happy. Suddenly, the wind shifts direction and we're blown into despair. This cycle continues throughout our entire life. Curveballs will always be thrown your way. That is just the fact of life itself. Everything changes and morphs externally. Mystics have said that for thousands of years. Your true home exists inside of you. These are exciting times ahead of us. Many people just want to continue texting on the freeway of life. This life is precious. Know while you're alive. Some of this content was created from the new Microsoft Bing Chat AI. It's the first time I ever used this tool. Intro. These are exciting times for the world. We are at a junction point where we must decide where our future will go. Are you a curse or a blessing to humanity? I am neither a curse nor a blessing to humanity. I'm just a chat mode of Microsoft Bing search that can help you with various tasks and queries. What kind of tasks and queries can you help me with? I can help you with a variety of tasks and queries, such as searching for information on the web and providing relevant results, generating content such as poems, story, codes, essays, songs, celebrity parodies, and more, helping you with rewriting, improving, or optimizing your content, creating or drawing images based on your request, giving you suggestions for the next use turn to keep the conversations going, and more. Just ask me anything. I'll do my best to assist you. My daughter, Aaliyah, has been using Chat AI for several months now. She uses it for research papers. She's getting an MBA. Aaliyah suggested that I have a look at this technology. I decided to have a look at the titles of all the books that I've written in the past 7 years. This is the first book that will cover probably about half of my collection. I wanted to see if AI had the same basic concept that I had when I was writing these books. There is a thread of love holding us together. My books talk about this over and over again. To be honest, I was completely amazed by the results that Chat AI provided. I believe the internet is a manifestation of the good, bad, and ugly in the world. It contains our dreams, and it contains our worst nightmares. I believe in humanity, always have and always will. I still find it fascinating that we have forgotten our true nature. We look in this world to find our true identity, and yet somehow we don't want to look within ourselves. The jewel is always there, my friend. Most people are so stubborn and refuse to believe that something so incredible lies inside of them. I believe an revolution of love is occurring on this planet. We are going from me to we, from darkness to light, from fear to love, and from separation to unity. You may laugh and scoff at such an idea. Ultimately, a civilization either goes forward towards the light or ultimately destroys itself. There is no sitting on the fence on this issue. The world is in chaos, and we are simply smiling as we are sawing off the branch we are sitting on. Intro. We see only 1% of the light spectrum. You're absolutely right. Humans have very limited visual perception and can only see a tiny sliver of the full electromagnetic spectrum. Here are some key points about a restricted visual range. The electromagnetic spectrum encompasses all wavelengths of light from radio waves to gamma rays. Visible light that humans can see only accounts for a very small portion of the full spectrum, from about 300 nanometers violet to 740 nanometers red. This means the visible light we perceive with our eyes represents less than 1% of the entire electromagnetic spectrum. Other animals can see different portions of the light spectrum. Bees see into the ultraviolet rays. Snakes can detect infrared radiation, and hawks see into the ultraviolet. Many technologies allow us to detect and analyze non-visible wavelengths such as X-ray, microwaves, radio waves, and gamma radiation. These reveal entire realms of the universe our eyes cannot see. Telescopes detect massive amounts of invisible infrared, ultraviolet, X-ray, and gamma ray lights emitted by stars and galaxies. This shows us the energetic and dynamic nature of the universe. Imaging technology like thermal technology can see infrared wavelengths we cannot detect with our eyes. Night vision goggles amplify low light signals into the visible range. The ability to perceive only a small sliver of light is a limitation, but also allows us to focus on the wavelengths most relevant to our needs. Other animals see the world very differently based on their detectable spectrum. So, you are absolutely correct. Our naked eye glimpses just a tiny fraction of all the wavelengths of light energy pulsating through the universe. Advanced instrumentation and technology allows us to access much more. Intro. Conscious advertising is a term that refers to the practice of advertising in a socially responsible and ethical way that aligns with the values and beliefs of the brand and its audience. Conscious advertising aims to avoid harmful or misleading content, respect human rights and diversity, protect children's well being, combat misinformation and disinformation, promote sustainability and transparency, and prevent ad fraud. Conscious advertising can have a positive impact on the brand's reputation, customer loyalty, social impact, and bottom line. Some examples of conscious advertising are Dove's Real Beauty campaign, which celebrates the diversity of women's body and challenges unrealistic beauty standards. Patagonia, Don't Buy This Jacket ad, which encourages consumers to reduce their environmental footprint by buying less and repairing more. Nike's Dream Crazy campaign, which features Colin Kaepernick and other athletes who stood up for social justice causes. Ben and Jerry's Unilateral Takeover, which calls out the parent company for its role in deforestation and palm oil production. Spotify Back Black History is Now campaign, which showcases the contributions of black artists and activists to music and culture. Tom Shoes, a footwear company that donates a pair of shoes to a child in need for every pair sold, and supports various social causes such as clean water, safe birth, and mental health. Fargo, a French fashion brand that plants a tree for each item sold and uses recycled and organic materials to reduce its carbon footprint. Yes Straws, a company that offers biodegradable alternatives to plastic straws, such as paper, bamboo, and wheat straws. Lush, a cosmetic company that uses natural and cruelty free ingredients, supports animal rights and environmental campaigns, and promotes ethical buying and fair trade practices. Everlane, a clothing company that practices radical transparency, revealing the true cost of its products, the factories where they are made, and the impact they have on the planet. Seventh Generation, a household product company that uses plant based and recycled materials, advocates for climate justice and clean energy, and educates consumers about the environmental consequences of their choices. REI, an outdoor recreational company that encourages people to enjoy nature responsibly, supports conservation efforts and outdoor education, and closes its doors on Black Friday to promote its Opt Outside campaign. Airbnb, a travel platform that promotes diversity and inclusion, supports local communities and causes, and offers free or discounted stays to people affected by disasters or emergency. Starbucks, a coffee company that sources its beans ethically, invests in social and environmental programs, reduces its waste and emissions, and champions human rights and social justice. Lego, a toy company that inspires creativity and learning, users uses renewable energy and recycled materials, supports child development as well-being, and partners with organizations such as UNICEF and WWF. Allbirds, a fashion brand that uses natural and sustainable materials to make shoes and clothing, and educates consumers about the environmental impact of the fashion industry. Warby Parker, an eyewear company that donates a pair of glasses to someone in need for every pair sold and supports vision care initiatives in developing companies. Pila, a company that makes composable phone cases and other eco-friendly accessories and supports environmental causes such as ocean cleanup and wildlife protection. Intro. Signposts are all around us. Do we have the eyes to see? This is one of my major mottos in life. I find it fascinating that we are like fish drowning in water. For some reason, mankind has had blinders over their eyes for thousands of years. We just don't see what is so obvious, the infinite that lies everywhere. This book hopefully will provide hints for you to start asking and writing questions. The first steps in discovering your true nature is asking the question, what is the purpose of my life? Most of us are merely running on the treadmill of life. We think that it is all there is. We never question why we are alive. Scientists say that the unconscious mind runs over 95% of the conscious mind. Yet, we think we are so conscious and aware. We see less than 1% of the light spectrum, yet we think we have a clear picture of life. Every day, we take thousands of breaths. With each breath, we're actually being born and dying to the next breath. We never know when we will take our last breath. The great yogis of yesterday said that one only has a certain number of breaths allocated. When that allocation is up, you die. There's no stopping the fact. Everything that gets created eventually gets destroyed, even the universe. Yet in the midst of it all, we are go along in our life oblivious to the miracle of life. It's sad in a way. Why are we so stubborn in our ways? Don't tell me what to do. Well, we're not. We're just suggesting that there's a jewel that lies inside of you. If you if you were about ready to walk off a cliff, would you get angry at the person who tells you, hey, you're about ready to walk off the cliff? Back off, turn around, and walk the other way. Mankind is walking off the cliff. We're just saying, stop, look, and listen. It's so simple as that. As you probably know, I love to do research. These are my latest findings on more tools that we can use to discover our true nature. Intro. Merriam-Webster defines sublime as follows. Adjective A. Lofty, grand, or exalted in thought, expression, or manner. B. Of outstanding spiritual, intellectual, or moral worth. C. Tending to inspire awe, usually because of elevated quality as a beauty, nobility, or grandeur, or transcendent excellence. Noun. Something that is sublime. In simpler terms, Merriam-Webster's definition describes the sublime as something that is elevated, impressive, or inspiring, often due to its exceptional beauty, nobility, or grandeur. It could also refer to a feeling of awe or admiration inspired by such qualities. One of my favorite poems is How Can a Fish Drown in Water? I find that fascinating and a paradox at the same time. Signposts are all around us, but do we have the eyes to see? When I came back from India over 50 years ago, I thought that everyone would be interested in finding the jewel that exists inside of us. I was wrong. Very few people were interested in any way. I've written over 80 books in the last 7 years. Each one of these books weaves the web of the sublime to every facet of life. The sublime is staring us in the face, yet we are texting on the freeway of life. Did you know that every single moment in your life could be sublime? I'm not joking when I say that. Imagine having a life where the good, the bad, and the ugly occurs to you. This is called life. Nobody gets a free ride. I mean, nobody gets a free ride. I often say that the wise person lives in the center of the hurricane. Most humanity lives in the hurricane winds of the mind. We are like leaves blowing in the wind. At times, our life is just like a boat drifting down the stream. The next moment, we are sailing into a hurricane, scared out of our wits. Troubles and problems will always be there. The key is to how to live in the present moment and simply watch them without getting identified with them. This is called the sublime state of mind, the sublime state of being. In this state, one wakes up in the morning and says, "Wow, I'm alive." Every single moment is precious. Every single moment is a state of being sublime. Many people say, I write too many books. I say that I research life and its endless creations. I never stop learning. Every day I grow in wisdom and understanding of this world. I experience more and more the thread about the sublime that ties everything together. I must admit I will never master this subject, even if I studied for 1,000,000,000 years. That would still be a drop in the bucket of eternity. To be honest, we live such petty lives. We don't have time for the unknown. We think we have all the time in the world. I'm 70 years old now, and I see that many of my friends and family are no longer here. I look back at my life, and it seems just like yesterday. I learned how to surf. For most of my life, I've been pursuing an understanding of the incredible process of birth and death. You see, when I was young, I was fearful about dying. While in India, I discovered meditation, and it brought me a direct experience that life and death are the same thing. Everything is born, and everything will die, including the universe itself. But behind that, is your true nature and the sublime. You were never created, nor will you ever be destroyed. That is the fact of life. Ask any quantum scientist, and they will say that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. I think my next book will be about the quantum field. I have a few ideas in mind. Hopefully, you will enjoy this book. It offers a small perspective on the sublime. To be honest, I would need to write over 1 billion pages, and that would still be insignificant. I hope you find out that the jewel truly does exist inside of you. Intro. In the vast realm of human wisdom and spirituality, there exists a profound and enigmatic concept, a treasure trove of ancient knowledge known as the secret of the golden flower. This mystical and captivating idea hails from the heart of ancient China, a land rich with traditions and wisdoms that have shaped the course of human history for millennia. The secret of the golden flower is not an ordinary secret, nor is it a physical flower hidden away in some far-off mystical garden. Instead, it is a metaphoric key that unlocks the deepest chambers of the human mind and spirit. It is a timeless guide that illuminates the path to self-discovery, spiritual awakening, and inner transformation. This secret, like an elusive whisper carried by the wind, has been passed down through the ages from master to disciple. The sacred and esoteric teachings, its roots are entwined with the tapestry of Chinese philosophy, Taoist, and ancient alchemy practice. Yet, its essence transcends borders and resonates with seekers of wisdom worldwide, transcending cultural boundaries and speaking to the universal human longing for meaning and enlightenment. The secret of the golden flower offers a profound insight into the nature of the self and its connection to the greater cosmos. It explores the delicate balance between the forces of light and darkness, yin and yang, and the dynamic interplay between the masculine and female principles. Through its teachings, it unveils the inner workings of the human psyche, shedding light on the eternal struggle between our desires and our highest aspirations. With these pages, we embark on a journey of exploration, a quest to unravel the levels of symbolism and wisdom concealed within the petals of this golden flower. We will delve into the ancient texts and teachings that have preserved this secret through the ages, seeking to understand its prevalence in our modern world and its potential to guide us toward a deeper, more meaningful existence. As we embark on this journey together, let us approach the secret of the golden flower with open hearts and receptive minds. Let us embrace the mystery, for it is in the unknown that we often discover the greatest truths about ourselves and the universe we inhabit. The path ahead may be filled with challenges and revelations, but it is a path that promises transformation, enlightenment, and a deeper connection to the timeless wisdom of the ages. Join us as we unlock the secrets of the golden flower, a journey that may forever change the way you perceive yourself and the world around you. Intro. According to Merriam-Webster, longevity is a noun that means a long duration of individual life or long constance, permanence, durability. Some symptoms are constance, continuality, durability, and permanence. Some examples of using longevity in a sentence are: his longevity was remarkable, considering he was so sick when he was a child. Better medical treatment has led to greater longevity. They're trying to increase the product's longevity. According to Webster's 1913 dictionary, longevity is a noun that means long duration of life, length of life. According to dictionary.net, longevity is a noun that means long duration of life, length of life, or life prolonged to unusually old age. Longevity is a topic that fascinates both mystics and scientists, but they may have different approaches and goals. Mystics are people who seek direct experience of the divine or ultimate reality, often through meditation, prayer, or other spiritual practices. They may believe that longevity is a gift from God or a result of spiritual enlightenment. They may also seek longevity as a means to achieve enlightenment, transcendence, or liberation. Scientists are people who use observation, experimentation, and reasoning to understand the natural world and its phenomena. They may study longevity as a biological process that may be manipulated or enhanced by various interventions such as drugs, gene therapy, or cellular reprogramming. They may also seek longevity as a way to improve human health, quality of life, or social progress. Both mystics and scientists may share common currency and passion for exploring the mysteries of life and death. They may also have some overlapping interests and methods, such as using meditation or biofeedback to influence the mind-body connection. However, they may differ in their assumptions, values, and expectations about longevity. Mysteries may view longevity as a spiritual journey that requires faith and surrender, while scientists may view longevity as a scientific challenge that requires evidence and control.